Hey guys, welcome back to the Bad Hombre Garage. Today I'm doing a little bit of work with my spark plug wires, recycling some old wires that I had, and I figured I'd do just a real short video walking through the process, how to turn some old crappy plug wires into stuff that looks brand new and fits your hot rod. Follow along. Okay, check it out. Here's what I'm dealing with. So I bought this Mallory Unilight distributor with the wires and the coil and everything at a swap meet about a year ago. And I think I paid 40 bucks for it all, and it all works. If you haven't seen my video, I'll put a little link up here. You can go back and check out my video where I fired this thing up for the first time. But when I put these things in, I realized that these plug wires, who knows what they were for. What in the world they fit, I don't know. But they were giant. They're way too long. And look at my number one spark plug. It goes all the way down almost to the ground and back up there. So I walked around and fit everything, and they're all too long. So I've been doing a little trimming, a little adjusting, and I needed to tie them up, but this is what they look like. Same plug wires on this side. I've just cleaned them and trimmed them to fit, and I'll put some little zip tie stuff on there to make it look pretty and tied up. So follow along here. I'm going to show you guys how I turn this giant mess of spark plug wires that other people might have thrown away into something that's useful. Okay, so follow along here as I take my number one plug, and I've routed it kind of where I think I'm going to want it to go. It's kind of hard to one-hand this. There we go, my number one plug wire. I'm going to want it to come down, and then I want it to run just along underneath my headers, and it needs to be about that long there. Okay, so I'm going to hold this mark, pull this thing off, go over and cut it right there. Okay, so one thing I always fall victim of when trying to work on this car is I try to over-perfect things or overthink it or over-measure, and I'm just hesitant to do something like cut a perfectly good spark plug wire. I'm here to tell you, sometimes you just gotta commit, okay? So here's the mark, as we said, where we need it. Okay, now we're committed. The spark plug wire is the length we want, but now we gotta trim it up and put the new piece on the end. So the first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna go into the boot here, loosen up, slip the boot off, and I tell you what, who's ever tried to do that and these things come off, right? They always come off. They don't with these. I want them to come off, but they don't. So now we got to get this little piece off of here. And I'll tell you the trick with this one is going to involve a pair of needle-nose pliers and a screwdriver. Bonus points if you have the 45-degree needle-nose pliers like this, okay? So I'm just going to come in here, grab it, and then I take my screwdriver, go under that little catch. You'll see it's crimped on and curled around. What we're doing is we're uncurling those crimps. Just enough to get the wire out of there, really. So that's what I'm doing right now. I'm gonna mess with that. Come in here on the other side, and what I'll do is I'll just jam my screwdriver in right there, pry that bad boy up. Okay, once I got them up, take the wire out, get rid of it. We don't need that anymore. This is what we want right here. Come on now, focus. This is what we want. Now, if you plan ahead, you can go on Amazon. You can order these things by the gross, and you have nice straightened ones that you just slip on and move into the next step. If you're like me, you're sitting in your garage on a Saturday and you're trying to get this done. So I'm gonna take a couple minutes and I'm going to uncurl these a little bit, and then what I wanna do is crimp them down flat. Now, the reason I'm doing that is because there is one special tool you gotta have for this. So at some point in your life, break down and buy some sort of name brand spark plug wires that you trim to fit, and you get this tool with it, okay? It's a crimping tool. I don't know when the last time I bought spark plug wires like this was, but I just went through my drawers in my my garage, and I found this. I stored it away, squirreled it away for today. And what this does, it's a little crimping tool. You can see here, the two pieces come together, and that is going to crimp that piece back into the spark plug wire, okay? So I've got to take just a minute here. I'm gonna work this guy over. I'll be back and I'll show you what it looks like. Okay, so I worked this guy over a little bit. You can see it's not pretty, but that's all it takes. The next thing I gotta do, I'm gonna set that aside and I'm gonna pull this guy out. You can use this tool, and there's a little thing, you can slide it in here, and I put my razor blade on and cut it and spin it around, and it cuts it exactly the length that you want it. I'm just here to tell you, come in a little ways, give it a little bit of a slice, and start spinning it around, okay? Get the same groove, Spin it, spin it, spin it until one end quits spinning. And then you know that's ready. Pop that guy off. Get rid of that. Okay, and there you go. You got the core sticking out. We're gonna fold that over the back, just like that. And then back to this little guy. All we're gonna do is work it back on. Like so, okay? I can come in here with my fancy pliers now, and I'm gonna squeeze it down a little bit. Not getting too crazy. I just need to squeeze it down enough that it fits inside my tool, and it does not. Come on now, get in there. So I'm gonna squeeze it down just enough that it fits inside my tool. There we go. Okay, so I got it slid inside this piece, which with the end that makes sense up, right, where it's gonna crimp down. And then I'm gonna come in like this with this piece, and then I'm gonna throw this thing in my vise. Just like this, it's gonna go in the vise, we'll crimp it down. I'll show you here in a second. Okay, dropped it in the vise, just like we talked about, and now we just start smashing her down. And let that crimping tool do its work. How much do we do it? I don't know. Pretty good. And then we back it off. Take it apart. Oh, look at that, I even one-handed it. Voila. Look at that. Okay, next thing we gotta do is we're gonna make this thing, look how nasty that is. We're gonna clean it up real quick and put the boot on the end. Okay, so for my next trick, I'm gonna get into my highly technical secret way of cleaning up nasty, greasy plug wires. Here it is, right, WD-40. I tell you, I literally bought this stuff by the gallon now. Put it in the spray bottle, use this for all kinds of stuff. All I'm gonna do, put a little bit here on my dirty shop towel and start wiping. Okay, wipe off all the greasiness. It's okay if you have a little bit of left down on the end there where we got to slide this boot on, because that's just going to help us out. And that's the last thing we got to do, okay? We got the boot that we pulled off earlier. We have the piece here. Let's just slip it in there. Come on now, just slip it in there. And voila. Let's go put it on the car. Okay, just like we talked about, here it is, the old #1 plug wire cleaned up, fits on the car nicely. I'm gonna go ahead and clean up the rest of these, get them cut down to size, and when we come back, I'm gonna show you one quick little zip tie speed trick for spark plug wire separators and tie-ins all in the same thing. We'll be back. Okay, here's my zip tie trick for making my spark plug wire separators. It's helpful if you have something less than like the 16-inch long zip ties, but it doesn't matter, we're gonna clip them off anyway. And so you can see here, here's what we did. With this one, we just went around all 4 of the wires, and then I came in between each of them and put a zip tie on each one there. Now they're not tightened up, and they haven't been trimmed off. So I'll do one more shot here at the end of when they're all cleaned up and trimmed off. But you see, I'm gonna have them there. I'm gonna put another one probably down in there, another one in there, and it'll look primo when we're done. All right, here it is, finished product for this side of the engine anyway. Clean wires the right length, zip tied, zip tied, and zip tied. And you look back, looks pretty good. At least I think it does anyway. All right, guys, thanks for checking it out. There you go. You got to see my quick tip on shortening spark plug wires and putting together a zip tie wire loom. Do me a favor, share this with a friend, hit subscribe if you haven't done it already, and get out there and work on your hot rod. Take care.